Welcome to Tiny Marketing. This is Sarah Noel Block, and this is the podcast that helps B2B service businesses do more with less. Learn lean, actionable, organic marketing strategies you can implement today. No fluff, just powerful growth tactics that work. Ready to scale smarter? Hit that subscribe button and start growing your business with Tiny Marketing. Hey, it's Sarah. And this is episode 104. I am talking to Frank Hussman, and we are talking all about how to position yourself as an expert in the B2B space. But probably more importantly, we're talking about the myth, the notion, the misconception. I'll go with misconception that so many B2B companies have in that they don't want their employees positioning themselves as subject matter experts because they're afraid that they're going to get recruited out or they're going to start their own thing and leave them. That they're investing in someone who is just going to bounce because they've built up their personal brand so much. But the real risk in not encouraging your employees to position themselves as subject matter experts is there's less visibility for your company. There is less trust for your company because for service businesses, people are buying people, not in a weird way, but they are buying the brains, the intelligence of the people that work at your company. They need to position themselves as subject matter experts. They need a reputation for being brilliant at their thing in order to radiate that brilliance back to your company. It is so beneficial and something that so many B2Bs mess up. They're always afraid when they start seeing them posting on LinkedIn and building the reputation that they're going to bounce. They're just priming themselves to leave when really they're helping your business, even if they do choose to leave and start their own thing at one point, or they get a better offer somewhere else. You get a ton of benefit from them bringing and attracting people to your company in the first place. It's worth the risk. It is worth the risk, people. Okay, stay tuned and we'll get started with my conversation with Frank. Before we go into our conversation with Frank, just wait 1 minute because I want to tell you about my friends at Mouseflow. SaaS and B2B marketers, here's something to think about. 79% of users will leave your site within seconds because of a bad user experience. That's a lot of lost leads, but Mouseflow can help you fix that. With Mouseflow, you can track where leads are getting stuck on your site, be it abandoned forms, confusing navigation, or even broken links in key areas like your sign-up page or demo request form. With Mouseflow's heat maps and session recordings, you'll easily understand the why behind the drop-offs and optimize those user journeys to drive more meaningful conversions. Visit go.mouseflow.com/try and sign up to get a full feature 14-day extended trial. No credit card required. Can you start off by introducing yourself to the audience?
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Frank Hussman. I'm the founder of Maxiality, and we are a B2B tech agency helping companies grow, basically tech companies grow with authority marketing.
That's awesome. Today, we are talking about how you can create internal subject matter experts. So basically, internal influencers to
Yeah,
help
true.
elevate the visibility and authority for your business. So before we dig straight into that, let's talk about why so many businesses are afraid to do this.
Yeah.
I have found that a lot of B2Bs are afraid to elevate the visibility of their employees because they're afraid that they'll get recruited right out of their business. Have you found the same thing?
Yeah. So this will happen anyway. Yes, I really relate to that problem, but I don't really think that that's the main problem, to be honest. But I used to have a SaaS in the past. I sold it 3 years ago. So And the developers I had in my team, they got pitched, I think, every week or so for a new job offering. That's just business as usual. And especially nowadays when there are no people left, apparently. I mean,
That's what they say.
that doesn't really matter. So just roll with that part. Don't be afraid of that too. And I do think that when you just stand up, when you just show your expertise and really show that you know what you're talking about, it will make yourself in the company more valuable and it will make the company more valuable. So I don't really, it's actually the same fear that has been going on when everyone got introduced to inbound marketing, content marketing. Why would you give away your recipe,
Oh my
the
gosh.
secret recipe?
That's taking me back in time. You're right. That was a big fear of everybody with content marketing is
Yeah.
then they'll just do it themselves. No one wants to do it themselves.
No, they're still by Coca-Cola. So apparently, and I think we know the recipe, right? There are many competitors. Can't tell
Yeah.
the difference. Some people, you shouldn't really worry about it at all. It's like you said, Sarah, it's when you show how hard it is, and then people will go, okay, let me try it first. And when they fail at trying it, they will hopefully get to you and buy your software, buy your service, whatever you're selling, right? In B2B. And that's actually the bridge that we're going to have to cross to make sure that we're there showing that
Yeah.
it's not that easy. Of course, you can, it's always talking about the problems that our clients face. And they are hard, right? Most of the time for them. But actually, if we're good
Why they're
marketers or
fun
if
to
we're
them.
a great company, then we show and don't tell. That's basically the leap that we're going to take.
Yeah. That's the cornerstone of content marketing for anybody who's listening and doesn't understand. Content marketing is about educating your customer on the problem that you solve. And a lot of times it's about the customer understanding the problem because they know the pain that they're feeling, but they don't necessarily understand why it's happening or potential solutions to it. So that's your job to educate them. And the best way to do this, especially if it's a service or a SaaS company, is to pull in internal subject matter experts to be the influencer. Anyone listening in the podcast don't know I'm using air quotes. If you're watching the video, you do. But it's basically when a customer is coming to you and they're just discovering you. They're trying to feel you out, get that know, like, trust factor. They're going to start digging into the people that they're going to be working with. They want to know more about them. And they're sure as shit gonna go over to LinkedIn and start Googling names, checking them out there, and wanting to know if do they actually know what they say they know. And
Yeah.
that is one of the huge benefits of this.
Yeah, so true. And those channels weren't even available 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago. There's so many channels right now where we can consume this content and really find out if this person is an expert, right? You can go on LinkedIn and see what their posts are about and see if there's some traction there as well.
It's the quickest way for me to eliminate a company that I'm considering
Yeah.
is, okay, you guys don't talk at all about the thing that you do or a problem I'm having. Why would I trust you? It's all
Yeah.
about that. No,
Yeah.
discovering them.
No.
I like your personality. I think it would be fun to work with you. And trust, you've taught me something, and I believe that you will do what you say you're going to do.
Yeah.
So, how do you choose subject matter experts within an organization to be the experts, the
Yeah.
visible experts, we'll say?
So how do you choose the right B2B subject matter experts in an organization? There's always a challenge. It depends on the stage that a company is in and how big the company is. But I work with a lot of tech companies, from startups to scale ups. And it always starts with the founders because they've had a vision to create some sort of product, a software product that will help someone ease their pain with the software they created. So they really know about the problem, they know about the market, they know about the prospects, they know everything about that they're going through, hopefully, if they have product market fit. So that's always the first to go to. But depending on the stage, depending on how big the team is, depending on how many people there are actually in the company, not only working on marketing and sales, but how big it is. And sometimes the founders will not have any time in their calendar to work with you. So you have to find another subject matter expert, or we'll have some kind of way to even go around that. I'll get to that later. But other subject matter experts will be people who are client facing. It can be salespeople, can be consultants. I work with one company that has a consultant that has even written a book about their field, the industry. That's the go-to person to get all these knowledge from and to put it out there because he is not doing it, he can do it, whatever. And that really helps as well. But then is the last problem that you can face is that not everyone is good talking about the things that you want to see on all these channels, right? They might be able to write it or they even have trouble writing it, but there's some way that they
They have it
have.
in their brain, but it doesn't necessarily translate to great content.
Yeah, and this is actually the hardest part. How do you select the right person? We've worked with so many different people, and we actually coach them during our sessions to make sure that they are camera ready because we always start with video. Um, and yeah, that's the process. And at some point, I've never experienced it, but at some point, you have to just accept that maybe this is not the right way to go. And well, actually, I've experienced it one time, and then someone just let my co-founder do it, and that's great. Sometimes you both want to do it. So yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you find subject matter experts. And I think one thing I wanted to touch upon is that sometimes they don't have any time, right? So you have to schedule a meeting every month for an hour, whether it's a subject matter expert from the company or whether it's the founder in the company, of course. And if you just schedule 1 hour, there must be 1 hour, 20 minutes, okay, for a founder that's really busy. If you just schedule that, you can do a video call like this and we'll have content for a couple of weeks, actually, if you prepare well, of course. And yeah, and that really works to show your expertise and become an authority in your industry.
Yeah, that is really smart. Just putting it on the calendar so it's always there. They can expect, okay, we're going to be sharing some knowledge during this hour. So I need to mentally prepare for that. But to reiterate, the first people that you look at when you're looking for an internal subject matter expert to be visible would be founders first, and then it would be the people that are internal that already have an audience, like the person who is an author. And last, it's customer facing employees. That's
Right.
also the order that I do put
Yeah.
in when I'm working with my clients is right there. But even if I work with a lot of like construction companies, facility companies, real estate that aren't really comfortable being on camera or
Right.
being an influencer.
Mhm.
They even just having like a quick 15-minute conversation to grab stories that they have that you can pull into written content is a good like fallback if you can't get
Yeah.
comfortable with being on a podcast or in video. But
Yeah.
those real stories with actual customers, those are gold because it really helps people put themselves in the shoes of that customer and can understand the real benefits that they'll.
So true. Yeah. I do think that every company will transform into some sort of company that will release content in different media formats. So we used to create lots of blog articles that has been ruined right now because of AI and Google quality, whatever. That's just interesting. Of course, you can still create content. So of course, you can still rank it, but you don't want to have Me Too content, the top 10 reasons why construction workers, whatever. We don't want that anymore.
Or you
Personal
need
stories.
yes, you need those stories. AI
Yeah.
can't tell those stories, but you can.
No. Yeah. So that's why the interviews are great. And I see the challenge that some people are just not really great at doing this stuff, but then still, they are probably, when they started the company, they have been talking to customers, potential customers. So they know how to talk, how to persuade people. They still tell stories anyways. Another way to do it is if you're anyway close, it's just to set up 2 cameras or even 1 camera actually, because you only need one. And then just do it like this, not with a Zoom call or whatever. And that might work as well if that is a possibility. We never do it that way because we all work companies all over the world actually. So that's not an option for us. But that would help. And the second thing is, like I mentioned before, we coach people as well. So we really prepare them during the calls and we know it's hard and we know it's hard to see yourself afterwards as well. And the first take is really not that good, but you grow into it. And yeah, like I mentioned before, I think every company will evolve into something like this because yeah, we got so many platforms right now where we can share our knowledge. Actually, it's completely different than 5 years ago.
Yeah, it really is. 5 years ago, podcasting was like baby. It was a little
Yeah.
baby on the content
Well,
scale.
I know with audio, right?
Yeah. Okay, so how do we help our you talked about coaching. I'd love to know how you coach them. How do we help these internal content creators create better content?
Yeah. It's basically just giving them feedback, just making assuring them that they're doing great stuff and making them repeat something. So we actually had a call, I think it was 1 or 2 days, not today, but last week, I think. It was with someone who's into sales. He's a founder of a company as well, but he's into sales.
Mm,
And the funny part was that we had a connection problem on his end. I don't even know what happened. So we did it again because he wanted to do them again. And we were like, okay, yeah, sure. It's great because it's the first time that we did that. And even for someone who was great at sales, the second take was just amazing. It was like looking at a presenter that could be on television. It was really, and if I looked them back, looked the footage back, it was like, wow, this is so much better than the first time. It also comes to just, yeah, it's like being in the movie, right? The director says, let's do another take. We're not going to do 10 takes, of course, a maximum 2 or 3. And then still we can select if we want to keep something or not when in the final edit. So yeah, it helps to just make sure that you're asking them the right questions that they already know, so they are more or less prepared. If they don't have any time, we'll ask the question that they get anyway, so they know them. That will help. And the second thing is that we are really reassuring them that they're doing great stuff and that it's fine what we're doing. And if they're not happy with it, do it again. And it's conversational, and that all happens. That's also something that they really like. So it's not a rapid fire interview for CNN where you're gonna get roasted.
yes. So having that content created in a conversation where it's like me and you right now, where we can cut whatever we want, but also building in rehearsal time where that we already know that first take is not going to be amazing. So build it in ahead of time. So people who aren't used to creating content regularly, this is going to be one take, but we do this is our thing. But
True. Yeah.
not everybody is like that. So you need to build in that
No.
rehearsal time.
Yeah. And I do think that the B-roll part where you just are not really at your best can be great if you want to go the infotainment route. So I think first up, you have to create a lot of how-to videos or personal stories, all the things that your prospect really want to hear. And it's more or less serious. I'm putting up the quote marks as well, because they don't really have to be that serious. We're B2B, but we're talking to humans still. So it can be any way you want it. And I think a logical, not even a next step, but another step would be to show some humor as well in the things that you create, because will make you stand out. And you mentioned something about construction workers. You could have so many fails in there that will work if you would even record on site.
Yes, 100%. And I love that. I keep in a lot of the mess ups in this podcast just because it feels more human and it's more approachable. But I also love like a blooper reel.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
can
personally
do
have
that.
not used that yet, but it's something that I want to do in this year because I think it shows more personality, and I think we should laugh more anyway.
We
So
really
why not do it?
could. You could
Yeah,
even put it towards like the tail end of
yeah,
whatever content you're producing. You could have
yeah.
a little cut scene and then the bloopers. People
Yeah.
love that.
Absolutely, and we'll remember it too, and we'll probably share it even more. So yeah,
Yes,
you
exactly.
you convinced me to put it higher on the priority list.
Good.
But talking about the human side of it, I think and the B-roll and stuff is. I think we really at a sort of crossroads. I see so many marketeers go the AI route, all in, and they even want to create these kind of video podcasts with AI, whatever, and videos. You're moving your mouth with the script or something like that. It's
Yeah.
really weird to look at. It's probably getting better, but anyway. So taking out the human out of everything, that's one road that we can take. That lots of marketers are actually taking. And the other route is just how can we be the source of AI? The only way that we can do that is by sharing the things that are inside our head that live and that we know from our clients, from personal things that we have seen so many times. And if you share these stories, it will always be more genuine and be more shared as well. And people will see you're a true expert instead of the Me Too route that a lot of people are following. So it's interesting times.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that's why I've intentionally made my content a little, again, I'll put quotes, messier, because I want it more human and real to
Yeah.
counteract all of the AI that's in this world.
Yep.
Let's show the human side of content.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And especially with software services, it's sometimes when you're talking about construction workers, right? It's you can show the human side way better, but software you can put it in a box, you can ship it really, and it's always, especially to start so focused on features and stuff like that. Why don't you show how you transformed someone's life, a company, whatever, with the software? That is not really that hard to do, and you can also capture that on video.
Yes. I love that. Telling those customer stories makes such a huge difference because it's not always easy for someone who's not techie, for example, to understand how your software can apply to them. So telling stories within those use cases
Yeah,
will will help a lot because it feels really foreign when you're like looking at a use case list and you're like, okay, my thing is listed there, but I don't really get
yeah,
how
no,
that's going to change my life.
yeah.
Not until I
So use
see.
use cases, definitely, yeah. Jobs to be done, FAQs, you can put it everywhere. Even the blog articles. Why not even put show some human in there with maybe how you would do it with your tool and how other people could do it manually, whatever. It's not really that hard to create something like that. And you don't have to create 12-minute long videos or 30-minute long video casts. It can be 1 minute.
Yeah, people love the short views. And
Apparently, our attention span is going
yeah,
down.
we're a bunch of goldfish for sure. But what you were saying before of doing a comparison of maybe your competitive alternatives within your content compared to yours, it could be interesting to run experiments like timing yourself doing it one way versus the other so you can show them.
Yeah,
And it could be really fun and experimental. And maybe you do a time lapse where you're showing them what
yeah,
you did. So I don't know, being less serious and thinking outside of the box could be an interesting way to do it.
yeah.
And you can pull in those subject matter experts too that might not be comfortable in like this conversation type of thing, but you're still showing them when they're running this experiment in maybe a situation where they feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Especially when you do it with other people, right? It gives you more credibility. So
Yeah.
and that's, I think, one other way to add a subject matter expert. You can also hire a subject matter expert, and it can be a freelancer that knows your industry really well. And of course, this person will be credited as well. So it will not be someone from your own company. But if you work with such a person for a long time by creating content, and still, we did this in the past so many times by creating listicles with other people that would answer questions about your industry, the top 10 questions answered by experts in industry XYZ. We always did these kinds of blog articles, right? So why not work with one or two of these freelancers or maybe, I don't know, people that you find in your network that have lots of knowledge of your industry and work with them together to create this content. I think that's only a win if you don't have anyone else in your organization help you.
Oh, 100%. I would say not if, I would say and.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah.
amplifying the amount of people seeing or consuming your content because they'll have their own audience.
Yeah, I love that to be honest. But B2B is still, I wish we would just get more from the B2C playbooks. And I think this is, in the end of the day, is working with influencers, however you would call them. They are influencers in their industry. So why don't we work together? And I wish we would do that more in B2B. So I'm starting small ish by working with the people inside the company.
Yeah.
But yeah, next level will definitely be working with other people to amplify. Yeah.
I think that's happening more and more,
Yeah.
but we just call it something different. It's not influencer marketing, even though it's B2B
No.
influencers. It's
Yeah.
more collaborative marketing where we're co-marketing with someone else that shares the same audience as us. But we're doing it all the time with events, webinars,
Yeah.
podcasts, videos, live stream
Yeah.
interview, panels, all of that is still influencer marketing. It's just a different genre, I'll say,
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah. So true, but I wish that we would integrate it more in our content strategy as well by really using their expertise, amplifying your own brand
Mhm.
by just creating some like a Netflix series, just
Yeah.
episodes, content with people that know your audience.
Yeah, episodic content is what I do for companies, but I absolutely love it because it gives you something consistent that you're always creating. So you build an audience, you get known for that thing, but then you can pull in those influencers within your industry to amplify the reach on every single episode. You get a new
Yep.
audience that's pulled in.
Yep.
I literally just this morning wrote a LinkedIn post about that, how I would not be at all where I am today if it wasn't for the influencers who helped me early on. We're like, okay, your show is not known at all, but okay, I'll let you interview me.
Yeah, that's an amazing example. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it has helped a lot. So, the last piece that we were going to talk about today is so we're helping our internal influencers create content. How do we promote that now?
Yeah. So it always start with your ICP, right? Where is your ideal client profile? Where can we find them? And in B2B, most of the time we work with tech companies. They're definitely on LinkedIn and of course on Google as well. But yeah, we have to be on LinkedIn. So what we do is we distribute the content on LinkedIn and organic content and the best performing content in after a month, we will amplify it with LinkedIn ads
Mhm.
on a targeted account based list. So we will go to a maximum of that depends, of course, on the whole total addressable market, of course, but we'll use about 1,000 accounts and then we'll boost the content that worked for them. And we'll do that round every month
Wow.
because we're creating organic content. We know what works, so we know what we can do next month as well in the interviews, and we amplify it as well. We do it in the cold audience on LinkedIn, and we do it in the retargeted audience with, of course, a different messaging and a different call to action, and people know you by then, so you can definitely make it a more convert boost it to the sorry for the conversion.
Mm.
That's basically the approach that we use when we are focusing on LinkedIn, which is definitely the main channel. And the good news, of course, when you create this content, we always create articles as well, and that will help for Google. But the people in Google they already know they have a problem, so they're problem aware, and that's where you capture the demand, and you have to create it. In our case, for the companies that we work with on LinkedIn, because that's where their ICP is at.
I love that. So I don't do any paid anything. So tell me more about this. It makes sense, your process. You're seeing what's resonating with your audience first before you're putting money to it. But how successful are your LinkedIn ads?
Uh, Basically, it's called demand generation, right? And I hear a bit of, not sure what's going on, but anyway,
I can't hear it
continue.
on my end, at least right
Yeah.
now.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, this is also about demand generation versus demand capturing, and then we got the lead generation. Everyone used to go the lead generation route. So you put on LinkedIn a white paper that's 3 articles written by an intern most of the time, and you will boost that, and you will pay about I don't know $30 or so for every person that would enter their email information via lead form. It will get to sales, and sales will go, okay, thanks for the 100 leads you just sent me. I'm going to call them all. So he or she is going to call them. And after a month or so, they will come back and are like, they're not that great. Okay,
Huh,
let's do it again. That's basically how it goes.
right.
And this used to work definitely because from the 100 leads you would get to sales, about 2 or 3 that would even get to somewhere. And maybe you get one sale at some point. But nowadays, costs are way higher and everyone knows that they're going to be followed by email, a phone, whatever. So this playbook isn't really working anymore. And last thing about this that the people are really in a self-service buyer journey right now. So they want to consume the content on their own terms
Mm,
in their own pace.
yeah.
Yeah. That's the main challenges when we're talking about lead generation. So there's a whole shift going to demand generation, which means we create demand for your product or services at the places where your ideal prospects are. And like I mentioned before, that's usually LinkedIn. And what we're doing is we'll create hand raisers on LinkedIn by organic content and by LinkedIn ads. And we'll measure that by pipeline velocity. So that means attributed marketing. The channel that we're using is the marketing channel, which is LinkedIn, of course, that it has attributed to the pipeline velocity. So that means that the pipeline will grow or the sales cycle will shorten. And we'll do this, we'll measure this definitely every month, but we'll check this every 3 months consistently. And if that's going the right direction, we know that we're doing the right things. That's one. And the second one, I'm going to be technical, is we'll check where the leads are coming from by just an empty field on every form on the website. And that's just, how did you find us? So it's not pre-filled. Please don't put anything in there. Just make sure that anyone can put anything in there and that your sales is also following that up by asking it again. And it will amaze you how many people say, I listened to the podcast. I saw an organic post, but I never saw an organic post. I saw a post by the founder, right? Or I saw something on LinkedIn. So if you do that correctly, then you're creating demand and you're also capturing it because people will raise their hand and get to your website and you will know where they're coming from. And yeah, so that's basically how that part works.
Did you okay. Woof, 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 woof. That's me fast forwarding.
Yeah.
By it was by what in the thing that you were measuring?
Pipeline velocity.
What is that?
Pipeline velocity is basically a big formula that I can show you. It's I'll bring it up for you because it's a big formula. And you can put it in HubSpot, for example, or even Pipedrive, whatever you're using, Salesforce as well. But at the end of the day, it's about the number of opportunities you've gotten and times the average annual contract value times the win rate. And you will divide that by the sales cycle. So that's the
Okay.
pipeline velocity. And I always do this in a month. And but in B2B, there will never be a lead on day one. And on the third day, it will be a sale.
Not in my
That
life.
No, that would be great, but it doesn't happen. So that's why I look at in quarters. So it's opportunities times the average annual contract value times the win rate. And then you divide it by the period of days. So 1 month, if you do
The
it by a
sales
month
cycle.
or 3 months.
That's interesting. Um,
Yeah. And because, sorry to interrupt you, Sarah, but the thing is that we have been told that you can measure everything. And we have been told this by Google Analytics, of course. People who advocate for that. We've been told by that by people who create attribution software and HubSpot as well. They all say you can measure everything. The thing is, you can't anymore for a lot of different reasons. First of all, cookies are dead. You can't use them anymore. We got GDPR in Europe. We got all kinds of regulations as well. So it's really hard to track them anyway. And then there's the third problem is that the many different channels that we got, people switching browsers, people going off of VPNs even. So it's a real challenge to measure everything. And the most important reason is it's not a linear buying journey anymore. So if you look at Google Analytics, for example, it will report the SEO traffic is your number one channel. Everything comes from Google, which is completely wrong because they probably, if you do the expert authority marketing way, they probably have seen you somewhere on LinkedIn, right?
and then Google you.
Then they Google your name
Yeah.
and then they put in the form, right? So it's really screwed.
I agree 100% with that. It's SEO is the highest on everything, but they have to discover you existed somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see. Was there, can you, yes, there is a training expert video. Can you tell the audience what you're giving away?
Yeah. So if you want to know more about authority marketing and how you can show your expertise, you can go to maxiality.com and you can check out the free video training I've made and you can, yeah, do it all by yourself.
Yes, it's called How to Become an Industry Authority, and we'll have the link in the show notes. And you said you're on LinkedIn, you're most active there. So
Yeah.
should they follow you personally or should they
That
follow
would be great because I'm the most active of our company. Yeah. It's
other
Frank
people?
Hussman. Yes. Follow me there, please. Yeah. Happy to share my network and tips there. Yeah.
Awesome. We'll share that link then directly to the show notes. So just move on over below to the show notes page and you'll find all of that. Thank you for joining me. Is there anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
No, thanks, Sarah, for having me. It's really great to talk about all this stuff with a fellow B2B marketeer. Love it.
Yes, it's so rare that we get to talk to each other.
True.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap. Boop. Thank you so much for joining me today for this episode on how to position yourself and your employees as subject matter experts out in the world so you can attract more clients and earn their trust. If you liked this episode, don't be afraid to like, subscribe, rate, review, and tell your friends. If you really liked this episode, please take a screenshot of you listening to it and post it on social. Tag me. I am at Sarah Noel Block, my full name, on all of the socials. So share your screenshots, tag me. I'd love to see that and be friends, engage with you guys. All right. We'll be seeing you next week. You love all things tiny marketing. Head down to the show notes page and sign up for the wait list to join the Tiny Marketing Club, where you get to work one-on-one with me with trainings, feedback, and pop-up coaching that will help you scale your marketing as a B2B service business. So I'll see you over in the club.